Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Tuesday, the 24th of November, 2015. This is episode 156, Rough. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. How was your week? Mine was kind of awful. Kind of really awful. I don't really want to talk about it on the podcast, though. I mean, maybe in the episode thread, but not here. It was just that kind of bad. Nobody died. That was good. Anyway, yesterday I didn't record because I worked until 2 the night before or something. So I didn't wake up until 10:30, and then Gabriel had a school play at 3 p.m. So my time was really compressed because I also then went to work at 4. So I only had a few hours in the day in which to get anything done. So the podcast just had to be bumped to today because I have the day off, which is lovely. So here I am, and yeah, let's get into the knitting and less babbling. Oh wait, about Gabriel's play. So it wasn't really a play. He's in first grade, so each child had a line which consisted of 1 to 3 sentences, and then when the next person was saying their line, the child got to hold up a puppet sort of thing, like on a popsicle stick for the line. So it was very exciting for them, and it was so cute, and I wouldn't have missed it for anything. Although I was kind of worried. Now I'm going to babble about life, apparently. I was kind of worried that I wasn't going to be able to make it. On Sunday, Gabriel asked me if I was going to make it to a school play, and I was like, I don't know. I have to work because I have to work at 4. And I thought it was going to be an after school thing. And then I went back and I read the paper. And I was like, oh no, it's during school hours. And I was like, yes, of course I will be there. And when I walked into, they have everything in the cafeteria at the school because they don't have an auditorium. So anything like that, award ceremonies and stuff, that happens in the cafeteria. So I walked into the cafeteria and I saw him, but he didn't see me. But his classmates saw me walk in, and like 3 or 4 of them were like, they waved, and then they were like, Gabriel, your mom's here, your mom's here. And they pulled him out of line to come wave at me. It was very cute. It was very exciting. They know me because I've done, I did the Halloween party this year. I did pumpkin patch field trip last year. Any event that they have at school, I try to make. I've only missed a few. I've only missed a handful of things at night because of working, but anything during the day I've been to, except for one of our award ceremony. I feel like the worst mom ever. It was like 3 weeks ago. It happened on a Friday. I completely forgot. Gabriel didn't say anything about it to me the night before. And then he came home and he was like, look, Mom, I got this award at school. And I was not crushed, but I was crushed that I had forgot to go. Anyway, knitting for real this time. Finisher Frog Craft Along, that has just under a week to go. You guys are doing awesome. Working hard. I love seeing the finished objects. We haven't had much chatter, but I haven't been chattering very much in the thread, so understandable. But at the end of the craft along, at the end of it, if you would go to the chatter thread and say, give a recap of what you accomplished and what you wanted to accomplish and didn't, that would be great. I will do that in the thread also. And there's a tag for that, which I haven't mentioned in like a month and a half. BPHFOF15. I'll be right back. My dog needs to go outside. I have a couple of finished objects to show you. Well, I have one finished object to show you, but one that I did finish and can't because I already gave it to the intended recipient. I mentioned a few weeks ago that one of my friends at work was going to buy a headband and then didn't buy a headband because it was too expensive. Anyway, I made her a headband, and it is a modified version of the Blizzard headband by Jenna Meyer. I used Premier Serenity Chunky US size 11 needles. I took out about a third of the width of the headband because it was just working up too big and I didn't want to go find different needles to tighten it up. So I just took out several stitches. I think it looks fine. She's happy with it. And if you haven't made the Blizzard headband, I've made it several times now, and I really, really like it. At least 6 times, right? I don't know. I can't remember. I've made it lots of times. It's a really well-written pattern. It turns out really, really nicely. And I finished the design hat, which I don't have a name for yet, but now that it's on the podcast, I feel like it probably will have a name by the time this goes out into the world so that I can publish it. Anyway, where's the thingy? Here's my button. So it goes this way. Styling is hard on the podcast when everything's reversed from what I think it should be. Okay. So here's my super awesome hair. Like I said, it's rough this week. I'm looking rough. My headspace is all over the place. So it's got cable details and texture, and this is not finished because it needs a button, but I mean, that's basically finished. It has no name yet, but it will. Should be, well, I don't know if it'll be across the bottom because I don't know if I'll get that far before, uploading and stuff. Anyway, the pattern will be on Ravelry by the time this podcast goes up. Nothing like setting deadlines. Yay! It will be a paid-for pattern. The yarn that I used for this is Leading Men Fiber Arts. Molly just barked, so now I forget what I was saying. Remember how I was talking about how distracting people with processing orders and ADHD is not a good idea? I'm in that moment right now. What is the base? I can't remember what the base is. It's the sock weight base with nylon, and it is the colorway Darkest Hour. It's a slouchy hat, so slouch. I don't know if it looks good right now because, I'm not even trying. But the pictures will be nice. I promise that. I will make sure they look nice when I take them this afternoon. Yep, because I haven't taken them yet. I just pulled it off of the blocking mat. I was worried it was going to still be damp, but it's not. So I can do pictures and stuff. What else? I used US size 1 needles for the brim and then went up to 3s for the body. Yeah. Okay. That's all about this hat. I really, really like this hat. I think it's really, really cute. It's just got this one panel here-ish, whatever. No, here-ish. Yes. That has the cables. So, and the texture is really, really easy to do once you get into it. I find it to be pretty mindless knitting. Anyway, until you get to the decreases, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Not in a horrible way, just that's in a lot of information way. So I have an almost finished object, and it's pretty exciting. If you're on Instagram, you saw my sweater is off the needles. I finished the sleeves. I was somewhere in the sleeves last week. Let's see if I can find my progress keeper. There it is. So I was here. I did all of these rows, and then you go up and do decreases. So I finished all of that, and I blocked it, and now I just need to do all of the seaming. I yarn chickened and won. This is all the yarn I have left. I am hoping it is enough to seam, but if not, I will seam with a different color. So I'm going to do, as per the pattern, I'm pretty sure the pattern tells you to sew up the neck portion first and then the sleeves. And if that's not what it says to do, that's what I'm doing, so that the neck portion, the seam will be visible, that will be in this yarn, and the seams of the sleeves, which will theoretically not be visible, will be in the other color. So this will be finished next week. My plan is to start seaming today, and then I will hopefully I will finish during the week. It will happen. It feels like it's not going to happen, but I'm going to try really, really hard because I really want this sweater. I would like to be able to wear the sweater instead of wearing my jacket to work because it has been a little bit chilly. By chilly, I mean it's been, 30 degrees when I've gotten out of work, which is really, really cold, and I can just walk out in my uniform. I have done it, but it's a little unpleasant. And when I have to walk to the fuel center or the liquor store to do, to give breaks or whatever, it's really, really chilly. Those are not short walks. So it's nice to have my jacket, but I'd rather have the sweater because it's awesome. I cast on a new sweater, by the way, because I said I was going to. If I finished that sweater and couldn't do the stitch count for NaNoWriMo, which is National Knit a Sweater in a Month, stolen from NaNoWriMo, which is National Write a Novel Month or whatever. I said if I finished that sweater, I would pick up sweater for Amanda and work on that to get appropriate stitch count. So this is how far I am on that. I am using the pattern Eyelet V Cardigan by G. Lucy. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It doesn't have very many projects, and the pattern notes say that it was not test knit, so that should be exciting, but none of the pattern notes say that there's anything wrong with it. So I'm hoping that it will all work out. And I've knit several sweaters now, including 2 that I just kind of made up as I went. So if something seems off about this cardigan, I'm not going to worry too much. I'll be able to finagle it, I think. The cardigan is, it's bottom up, which is the first time I've done a bottom up sweater because I am using 716 knit worsted weight in the you have butt face 1T. And I'm using US size 7 needles, which is 4.5 millimeter, I think. Anyway, I'm using this yarn and I have this much left of one cake and then a cake that's probably about this big. I don't know how much yardage I have, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out. So I asked my sister if she would like a sweater that was more like a color block sort of thing, and she said that that would be fine, but she would like the upper portion to be the solid color, because I'm thinking probably a solid black to go with this, since yeah, solid black is probably the best choice, right? Well, I don't have solid black and I wanted to cast on the sweater, so we found a bottom-up sweater that she liked the look of, and this is it. So I'm going with it. I'm hoping it works out. I'm a little nervous about it, but we'll see how it goes. The pattern so far is pretty well written, although the section that I'm in right now, it's a little confusing wording-wise. So I worked it the way that I think it's going to work, and if it does, I'll put that in my pattern notes, and if it doesn't, I'll also put that in my pattern notes, so that if anyone else finds the wording a little bit tricky, it will make sense. It's the first section. You split off for pockets, and you do increases. And it's confusing as to whether you're supposed to do it every 6th row or every 6th right side row, which would be every 12th row. I'm doing it every 6th because I think that will take me to the length that I'm supposed to have. But if it's every 12th, I will rip out and write that on my project notes. I think I'm right though. I also worked on the, what are you? Samwise Socks by Claire Ellen. This is from the Fellowship of the Sock book, and this is where I was last week. I finished sock number 1. Yay! So that is finished. I should be able to finish this pair by the end of the month. Yay! Here is the second one. I have the cuff, the leg, and I am a little bit through the heel. I don't know how much further I have on the heel, actually. I'm halfway through the heel. I am knitting this using Peyton's Croissants FX in Cascade colors, which FX is a slow color change. It changes one ply at a time, and there are 3 plies. And also, so I don't even try to match up color repeats because that would be madness. So it makes very different socks, which I don't mind. They're fraternal and they're lovely. This is my favorite color section right here, where it's very blue with just a little bit of purple in it. I mean, the purple's nice, but that's my favorite. You can see it really well in the toe of this sock, actually. What else? US size 1 needles. It's not the most intuitive pattern, but it's not very difficult. And honestly, if I had to work it without the chart, I'm pretty sure at this point I could. I'm pretty sure that I haven't memorized that point. I don't because, you know, the chart's right there, but I'm pretty sure I could if I had to. If all the technology in the world stopped, I could still make the sock. Because it lives on my computer. That's why it would have to be all the technology in the world would stop. I started something else new. There's a lot of new this week, but still progress on old, right? I started the Woodland Wolf Cowl by Heidi May. And this is crocheted using Lion Brand Woolies, Thick and Quick. This is the Fisherman colorway, and this is the Gray Marble colorway. There is also a knit version of this cowl, but a different girl from work she saw it on Facebook, and she asked me if I could make it. And I had already looked up the pattern for someone else who had seen it on Facebook and wanted me to make it. The first person decided that my price was too steep. My price is actually really, really, really cheap, but for a handmade piece. So the girl at work was like, oh, she was like, that's really reasonable. I thought it was going to be much more. I was like, I should have charged you more, but I didn't. This is where I'm at. So I have the cowl portion finished, and now it's just split for the hood portion. My cat just jumped in my lap, and that's very distracting. So let's see. I'm using USN hook, which is a 9mm, and what I have left on this is the hood. You knit, you crochet it flat, and then seam across the top, so it's got like a pointed piece at the back, and then ears and maybe something else. The pattern's really well written. It's sized from 18 months to adult, so worth the money. I think it was a $5.50 pattern. And it's working up super quick, obviously, because it's chunky yarn and a huge hook. I'm being aggressively attacked by this kitten. This is Ducky. It's been a while since he's been on the podcast. He's not very, very into the whole camera thing, but sometimes he is really, really cuddly, like right now. And he says I must pet him instead of holding up yarn things, but I don't listen so well, so I'm still going to hold up yarn things. It might be a little awkward though, because I'm probably going to continue petting him while holding up yarn things. This is the Aramis sock, and I am still on the first one, but here is what the pattern looks like. I still haven't looked up how to pronounce the designer's name. Last name or second part of the name is Coffee, though, and it's linked in the show notes, also on my Ravelry page. The yarn that I'm using is Fleece Artist Trail Sock in Forest, US size 1, 2.25mm needles. Last week, I was in the heel flap, and so I finished the heel flap, picked up for gusset, well, did the turn heel, picked up for the gusset, did the gusset, and now I am working down the foot. It measures to here. I need to get to here before I can start the toe. And I haven't had a ton of knitting time on this particular project because I pretty much only knit on it at work when I'm running fuel breaks. So I didn't do that very much this week. So it didn't get a lot of love, but yeah, hopefully it'll get there. Once the Samwise socks are off the needles, this will become my new at-home sock knitting also. So, you know, maybe I'll have it finished by the end of the month, but we'll see. I don't know about that. I cast on also the Len Jerry, which I show you what that's going to be when it grows up. It's going to look like that. It's a very lacy shawl, and it has beads. I have just barely started it. So which side is the right side? That side. It has one single bead so far, and the pattern is really kind of brilliant. I'm enjoying it so far. It's a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to tell you too much other than I am enjoying it, and I'm not very far in it. So there's that. The yarn is Leading Man Fiber Arts in the Ghostlight base, which is lace, and the colorway is Fishbowl. I am using my yarn bowl to hold the lace because I'm going from the outside, and look at how cute that little star is. And the yarn bowl is also holding my beads for me so they don't go wandering off. Now my cat is transversing my desk, and it's got a lot of stuff on it, so if anything falls, if there's a big crash, that's what that sound is. Let's see what else. Yeah, I've barely started the shawl, so I don't have a lot to say, but I hope to be making a lot of progress on it very quickly. The pattern is pretty well written so far. It's not very confusing. There was a moment where it was I started it at night, and there was a moment where I was like, wait, what? This does not make any sense. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, clearly I was just too tired for things to make sense last night. I'm also working on jaws. Let's see, which side? Nope, not that side, this side. Okay, so right there, can you see that stick thing sticking out? I've started plowing jaws. I did not have any spindles open except my supported spindle. I'm using my supported spindle as a top whirl spindle, and I'm plying on that because I just really wanted to start plying jaws. And I didn't have any spindles open, and I could have improvised one using, you know, straight needles and some sort of weight, but it was already there, and it's so pretty, and I like it, so it's doing an okay job. It's not great. It will be much better once it has weight from plying on it. And I've continued spinning the singles. I still have a decent portion to go. Maybe a quarter of the fiber, maybe a little bit less than that. I don't know. It's still a lot, I think, that needs to be spun up. I was really bad this week too on modular knitting. I'll show you the good parts first. I made blanket square barn raising square number 49. So that's cool, and 49 is a square number, which means I will show you all 49 that I have. I'm going to put them all away and restart my photos of the square numbers. I think waiting until 56 and then no, that's not right. See, I want Minnie Mouse. Get dressed. Okay, get dressed. Not 56, 64. I think waiting until 64 will be a lot to wait to show you all of the squares together. So I will restart the count and put these away so that they don't get lost or dusty or whatever. I also knit on my Mitre square blanket. So this one. Both of these squares you may have noticed were the Woodside Gold colorway from Sun Valley Fibers. yeah, my plan was to do all of my modular knitting starting with this color. But then I didn't make a hexapuff. I was against the rules. I'm supposed to make a hexapuff before I make a miter square. I couldn't find my needles. I couldn't find my DPNs, and my my circular was first in this hat and then in the Lenjerry, so I just couldn't. I finally found my knitting needles. They had fallen under my desk. It's not very helpful. So, casting on the hexapuff as I'm editing this, and hopefully I will have finished hexapuff in this color to show you next week. And then I'm really not starting the next miter square until I make another hexapuff. Fail. So bad. I don't even follow my own rules. I have some lovely new things to show you. I'm really, really excited about all of them. This is just beautiful. Everybody's going to be so jealous of this. I can feel it. And if you're not, you know, just don't say that you're not, because let me live in my fantasy land, okay? I've had a rough week. This is a bag that Christina made for me, and it is gorgeous. Look at those beautiful fabrics. I love autumn. It is my very favorite season, followed by winter, then spring, then summer. I love it so, so much. I love the colors. This is acceptable orange. This right here, autumn. Oh, I love this. I love all the fabrics so much. They're so beautiful. It's got this beautiful coordinating yellow zipper. It has rickrack for the handle, which is anchored with these blue buttons. And I love the pops of blue against the colors. It's bigger than my Sewn by Lindsay bag, which is in my drawer, and I'm not going to pull it out right now. Which I love the tetrahedron bag by Sewn by Lindsay, but this has been perfect because it has been big enough to carry all of the things that I need for work, which is lotion and water bottle and phone charger and headphones, and my list of things that I need for work is growing longer as I'm working more hours. Snack of some sort. Everything fits in here, so that's brilliant, and it's just, oh, it's so pretty. I love it so, so much. So this is what she sent for me, but she also sent other things. So she sent two mini skeins specifically for my green and blue mitered square blanket. So that's really exciting. I love both of these so much. They're so pretty. I'm excited to put them in my blanket. So I better make like 8 hexapuffs this week so I can put it into things, right? Probably won't happen, but it would be nice if it did. And then for everyone else, she sent this beautiful skein of poppy flower fibers yarn. It is hand painted superwash merino 400 yards in the Pooh Bear Redux color, which is the second, and it is so pretty. It's very autumnal, but you know, it could be good for any season, really. It's brown and red and purple and so, so pretty. So pretty. Thank you so much, Christina. I will be using this in a future knit along. I'm not sure which one yet, but you know, sometime in 2016, this will be offered as a prize. It was just, it was such a nice surprise to get the package. It really just made my day. It was awesome. It was so good. Yeah. So other things, I'm going to show you what came in the 2 bins from Steve's mom when we saw her a couple weeks ago. The first bin is less exciting, so that's why I'm starting with that. There were several skeins of unused Care & Simply Soft and baby yarn and more baby yarn, even more baby yarn, and then several partial skeins of other baby yarn. So that was the first bin. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, that's easily more than $20 worth of stuff, plus the bin, the storage bin, which they're nice. They're the plastic. This one has, they actually both have handles that slide on to make sure that the lid is secure while you're traveling with it. And so this is the size of the first one, smaller. And the second one is substantially bigger. And it also has some Care and Simply Soft. There's 4 skeins of this color. There's a taupey mushroomy color. These are actually 2 separate colors. They're looking very similar on the screen, but they're different. There's an orangey one. There's a skein of yellow Red Heart Super Saver, an unlabeled partial skein that looks like Red Heart Super Saver. And then, is that all the yarn? Yes. Okay. And then there is a container of bobbinated embroidery floss. And I can't believe that someone gave these up. Like, well, I really like doilies, but I don't think that I would have the patience to make these. Look at this one. Gorgeous. It's ridiculously beautiful. And there is a table runner type thing also. Look at all those motifs that had to be put together. It's insane. There is this. I'm pretty sure that this technique is called crewling. So it's got this canvasy blue fabric and then this green fabric sewn on. And then all of everything else is stitched on with long and short stitches. That's just beautiful work. Beautiful. This is what the back looks like, in case you were wondering. There's this piece. Is that too close? Betterish. Okay. They're all large pieces, so it's difficult to show off. So that's gorgeous. And this very handsome rooster. Look how pretty. Piece. Oh, too close. See, I want to put everything up close, and then I'm like, oh wait, that doesn't fit. So pretty. And this one is my favorite. It's a little alphabet sampler sort of thing based on a kitchen. Look how cute. Okay, that one I am going to put up closer so you can kind of see what's going on. Is it all on the screen? I think so. It's so pretty. This one I'm keeping for myself, but the rooster and the birds, Steve's mom and grandma, they hadn't looked through the bin really. Like they had glanced through it, but they hadn't really looked through it when I got it, and then I pulled those out and they're both like, oh my gosh, those are so pretty. So I think I'm going to frame them and give them to them at some point. There are also several works in progress for cross stitching and several pieces of fabric with nothing on them. This is just the first one I pulled out. So there's that, and cross stitching patterns. And at the very bottom, there is a box of straight knitting needles, which they didn't know was in there until I started digging through. So yeah, she got all of that for $20. Are you kidding? That is crazy. Beautiful stuff. and beautiful. Very excited about all of it. And finally, what I have been reading this week. I still read a little bit of Kushiel's Dart, although I slowed down because this book came in on hold at the library and I've been waiting for it for, I don't know, a month-ish. And I want to read it and then get it back because other people had it on hold. This is Happily Ever After by Kira Cass. It's a companion to the Selection series, which I read last year maybe. And I read in pretty rapid succession. I was very, very into it. It has short stories. I've already read 2 of them. The Prince and the Guard, that was in a different collection. Well, they were together. It was just the 2 of them together. I'm going to reread them because they're not very long and there are additional scenes written in this. So I'm in the book called The Prince right now. I am very interested to see who the favorite is. Scenes from Celeste. She was an almost antagonistic character. No, I mean she was definitely antagonistic in the Selection series. So I'm interested in that section. The Maid. There are a couple who I think it might be based on, but I'm not checking. I want to know what it is, but I don't want to know who it is until I get there. And then The Siren. It says Sneak Peek at the Siren. I wonder if that's the second book in the second set, because there's a book called The Air, and it is clearly going to be, there's clearly going to be another book after that one, so I don't know if it's supposed to be another trilogy or just like a series sort of thing. And maybe The Siren is the second one in that. I don't know, but I'm really interested to find out, and that is, that's what is going to be most of my reading this week. Anyway, I feel like I'm very babbly. I'm sorry if this podcast is like super crazy. I know there's going to be a ton of editing because Steve came home and Mara jumped out of her bath and came in here. And yeah, a ton of editing. I'm not here mentally because I was just having a really, really hard time this week. But I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. I will see you next week, hopefully on time, and hopefully it will have been a good week. Bye.